Hello, and welcome back to the Michigan State University Wealth Management Association podcast. This week we have Justin Castelli joining us. Listen in as he talks about a new way to view finances and money for everyone. We hope you enjoy. How's it going? Welcome back to the Michigan State Wealth Management Association podcast. This week we have the privilege of having Justin Castelli on the podcast. Now, can I let you introduce yourself?
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. As Jacob said, my name is Justin Castelli. I'm an advisor down in Fishers, Indiana. I always like to start off with I'm actually a father and husband first and foremost. So I have three boys, Roman, Leo, and Silas. My wife, Angela, she's an entrepreneur as well, has a store named Roman and Leo. So something that's very important to us is our family. And my firm, RLS Wealth, is the legal name. I rebranded it to Santiago. I don't think we'll have a chance to kind of go into why I did that, but it's named after the boys as well. I've been in the profession 20 years. The last 10 years have been running my own firm. We'll maybe touch on my journey real quick in a moment, but I've been running my firm the last 10 years, serving my clients. But as I was thinking about this, the profession's been very good to me, and that's allowed me to build a career that fits into my life, which I think is really, really important. So I can be a present father, be a present husband, and also take care of my clients and live life the way I want to, which I kind of refer to as the authentic life. So my focus as an advisor going forward, part of the reason I rebranded is really trying to help clients and people who consume my content, because I write a lot. I have a podcast, I do a lot of videos, really help people figure out like this idea of an authentic life. Like, what is the life that they want to live? And when we figure that out, let me put my financial advisor hat on, and how do I help you align your finances so you can live that life, live the life you want on your terms, rather than go down a path that someone sent you down that you may or may not want to live. So that's the focus of the work I'm doing as a financial advisor. And we'll probably get into it. Some of my approaches, some of my questions, how I view money and work with clients is a little different than most, but it is the right way for me.
Yeah, very cool. I'm really excited to get into all of that. But first, I kind of want to step further back into your career and kind of what got you into the financial field.
Luck, man. It was luck. I went to a small school south of Indianapolis called Franklin College, Division III, played basketball, was planning on going to law school, met my wife going into my senior year, realized 3 more years of school was not what I wanted to do. So pivoted and graduated, truthfully, with no idea what I was going to do. I look back and I'm like, that's why I say I'm lucky. I could have just gone down a totally different path, but graduated. She had a semester to finish up down in Bloomington, so I stayed with her in the summer, came back home and networked, and that's where I found out about financial advisors. I had one finance class as an econ major at a liberal arts school, and I got a C in it. At that time, I just wasn't interested in this stuff. And when I met these advisors for lunch or coffee, and I just realized that it sounded like it was a pretty cool profession, getting to help people. I mean, I could see that they were doing well financially, which I'm not going to lie, kind of enticed me as well. So I fell into it out of college and really didn't become a financial advisor really probably until maybe 3 or 4 years into working in the profession. My first spot out of college when I started working was an insurance firm. So, went there, realized I didn't want to do life insurance under the name of a financial advisor. Nothing wrong with getting in the business that way, but it wasn't where I wanted to be long term. Went to a bank for a year, went to a 403B company for 7 years, worked at an independent firm for 2 years, and then I launched my firm. And it was at the 403B company where I actually became a financial advisor, started to learn how to like work with clients, build a book of business. I got my CFP designation. And that's where I saw the future for me was probably going to be in the independent space, so I could have more freedom and flexibility to do things the way I wanted to. But I would love to say that I was as smart as you and went into a college that had a program that got me ready to be doing this job right out of college. But that wasn't the case. Just stumbled into it.
Yeah, very cool. And I think one of the things that's really kind of prominent throughout really a lot of your social media and all of that, like you mentioned earlier, is you talk about the authentic life a lot. So kind of when did you first come up with that idea, and what exactly is that idea?
Yeah, I'll start with the what is it real quick, high level. The authentic, there's lots of names. There's best life, rich life, all these different lives. So to me, the authentic life is very similar to those, but my difference is I believe that we all were created, we'll say with a purpose, but we were all created to live a certain life, bring certain things to the world. And I think it's our responsibility to find out what that is. So to me, the authentic life is, what is the life that Jacob wants to live? do you even really want to be a financial advisor or somebody sending down this path? Are you making the choices that and following the ones that you want to live the life that you want to? And I think that
Mhm.
we can be guided to live this life by listening to our intuition, listening to our heart, following our passions, and those kind of reveal the things that we bring uniquely to the world that no one else can, which will
Yeah.
ultimately lead us to this idea of an authentic life. How it came to be is just another one of those like by chance type of things. I was a few years ago basically doing a bunch of different things. I had my firm. I co-founded a community called the AGC, which some of your classmates might be aware of. We do a mentorship program
Mhm.
with some of the financial planning students with the AGC. I was working at a startup that was doing crypto for advisors and just doing too much. And I was neglecting taking care of myself. I wasn't working out like I usually did. I wasn't sleeping enough. And I basically realized that I was living a life that I really didn't want to live because I let people kind of steer me where I was going. And I left the startup, got back to taking care of myself, and I experienced what I talk about as an alignment of spirit, mind, and body. And when I started to take care of myself, spiritually, physically, mentally, I noticed how things were changing for me. And I realized that like there is a certain way I'm supposed to show up. Financial advisor is it, but there's a certain message that I think I'm supposed to bring to the world, a certain way that I'm supposed to do work that no one else is really doing. And that it's kind of my responsibility to do that. And then also encourage other people to do that. And the term authentic life really came up when I was on vacation for New Year's Eve a few years ago, and I was just journaling and writing, and it kind of like popped into my mind. And when I heard it, I was like, yes, that's my thing. So right now, no one really knows what the authentic life is, but I view myself as I'm in the business of building the authentic life and awareness of it. And I do
Mhm.
that through my financial planning firm. I do that through my content, and I have some other things in the future that I'll kind of bring into it to help more people realize, hey, I have agency over my life. There are things I feel called to do, and I should pursue those and find out what they are. And then obviously money touches everything. So how do we bring money to that so we can actually live that life?
Very cool. Yeah, and you talk a lot about alignment as well, I see.
Hmm.
And I guess in your words, I'll let you put this, but it's more of, kind of aligning all of your priorities, as well as like with your career and all of that.
Ideally, it's ideally it's everything that's
Yeah.
true to you. So the very first alignment is the spirit, mind, and body. Like I believe when, however you do that, I don't care. But when you align yourself spiritually, mentally, and physically, that pulls a lot of things in together and it brings you closer to that authentic life, the authentic version of yourself.
Mhm.
The alignment is what allows you, I think, to show up in this world as your authentic self, the truest version of yourself. So that is aligning those things, but it's also aligning your values with the work that you do, aligning the money and how you allocate it with your values as well. And what I've grown to believe and have seen over time is that for a lot of people, their financial struggles arise from a lack of alignment. They're spending money in ways that, trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to impress people because they're looking for validation, but they're doing it in ways that don't really align with who they are, what matters most to them. So they overspend, they do things they shouldn't do, and it gets them in trouble. Where when you find alignment and you find yourself, I believe you kind of find this sense of confidence. So you don't necessarily need the world's validation because you know you are who you're supposed to be. You provide your own validation. You love yourself. And then now you can allocate the dollars that are more aligned with what matters most to you. And, I mentioned writing about energy. I think when you have alignment, money will kind of begin to kind of flow to and through you. I have this belief that people who use money in alignment with their true self, alignment with their
Mhm.
values, that money tends to flow to them and through them because they're being good stewards of it. So yes, we need to prepare, we need to save, we need to invest, we need to do all of those things. But also, I don't believe money is meant to be hoarded. Once you take care of yourself and your family and you have the foundations in, I think money is supposed to flow through you in ways that are aligned so that it can go to places that it needs to go. And thinking about like just being a consumer, example that I always like to give people is, we have somebody who comes and cleans our house every other week. Three boys, two entrepreneurs, and I don't even love housework, so it's easy and convenient and worth our time to do that and our money. But that's aligned with my values and the people who come and clean our house, we are allowing our dollars to provide for them and their families. I could say, you know what, I don't want to spend that money every month. I'll just clean it myself. And that's, to me, is kind of hoarding, but it's okay for
Mhm.
us to spend this money because it's aligned with what's important to us, not having to clean the house so we have the time to go to our boys' sporting events or whatever it might be. And it ends up benefiting the people who come and clean. So I think that that's not something that you hear a lot of financial advisors talk about, is like money flowing to and through us. But I do
Yeah.
believe that it's true. I've witnessed it. There's a lot of books that support it as well if you look for it hard enough. It goes against kind of the traditional mindset of financial planning, but I think it works best when you have that alignment. And the final thing I'll say on alignment is I can't tell you how you know you'll be aligned other than it's a feeling. Like
Mm.
there are things you can do that bring you into alignment. Like I know the things I need to do to bring me into the most alignment the most aligned version of myself I can be. But at the end of the day, even if I check all those boxes, it's a feeling. So I think if
Yeah.
you have kind of peace and you're kind of operating in flow and things are just kind of moving easily, that's usually a good sign that you have some pretty good alignment of who you are and everything around you. Versus if you are compromising yourself and being somebody you're not, you'll feel kind of discontentment. You might feel anxious, all these different feelings that kind of let you know that, okay, maybe I'm not being true to myself. Maybe I'm misaligned, and let me come back to who I believe I am and bring everything centered around that and move forward that way.
Yeah. So these ideas of alignment and all of that, are these things that you talk about with your clients, or is it more of stuff you're trying to get people in the financial field, just in general, like professionals, to hold on to?
I mean, I would love for my peers to start incorporating this, or at least looking at it and making a judgment on themselves if it makes sense and they believe in it. I do have these conversations with my clients, but I mentioned the rebrand. My existing clients, when they met me and we first started working together, I was not thinking and talking about these things. So I
Mm.
don't feel it's right for me to force these new views on them. So we still work together in the way we always have for the last 10 plus years. But because I write so much and I share everything with them, they know where I am. They know the things I'm interested in. They know the things I believe and talk about, which gives them the permission that if they share those same things or they want to learn more, to bring it up. So I do have probably more conversations around this stuff than you might imagine. But
Yeah.
going forward for my new clients, like this is what I'm about. So the reason I rebranded to the name of Santiago was to be able to change the marketing, change my website so that you know that as an advisor, I'm going to be talking about intuition and the decision-making process. I'm going to be talking about the law of attraction. I'm going to be encouraging you to be aligning your spirit, mind, and body in your way so you can be the authentic version of yourself. And I have a process that's going to help us make sure that you are living your authentic life, or you know what it looks like so we can move towards that. And then the very last thing we're going to do is bring the money to the picture. So where most financial advisors are going to lead with money, I'm going to lead with this process of life planning, helping you figure out what you want out of life, basically write your own story, and
Mhm.
then we'll bring money to that, which again is different. But my hope is anybody who comes from me from today on, they know that, and that's what they want. So yes, all of this stuff I'm talking about is going to be common conversations with new clients and every once in a while with my existing clients.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're slowly turning into more than just a general financial advisor, but also
Hmm.
almost more of like an advisor of, you know, everything that somebody might be dealing with. And
Yeah.
that's really cool to kind of like making sure that, it does all kind of connect in the end.
Hmm.
I mean, at least spending habits are going to be connected
Hmm.
to, a lot of people's personalities and all of that. So that's
Hmm.
very cool to see.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
excited about it, and I think I'm early in this. So
Yeah.
if this resonates with anybody listening or watching, like I think this belief I have is early, but I do see more advisors getting life planning designations through the Kinder Institute and moving towards this direction and having conversations like this. And I
Hmm.
don't think that the world or the public sees a financial advisor through this lens, which is perfectly okay. But it is where I'm going. And for lack of a better term, I think it's a combination of a life planner, which is the Kinder way of helping people figure out what they want out of life, the financial advisor, and then I hate the term, but kind of like a life coach as well. So being there to have conversations that may not initially start with money, but
Mm.
will eventually trickle their way into the financial picture. So having conversations about career goals, desires, things that they want out of life, like that may not be a money thing today, but eventually it will. And there can be some planning that we can do to make sure that they can do the things they want to do in the future.
Very cool. Yeah, and with like the authentic life and the alignment and all of that, has that really changed your viewpoint of really what financial freedom is for maybe your clients or yourself?
Um, yes and no. I think financial
Hmm.
freedom to me has always been about like options and basically having freedom, being able to do what you want when you want and not having to be beholden to anybody else. Like eventually
Yeah.
that's the goal. Now, what I think has changed is what number does somebody need to have in order to have that freedom? And the
Hmm.
reason that part of it's changed is early in my career, I would have thought it would be like 5 million, 10 million, like a big number. Like you need to have a big number so you can never have to work again, do what you want to do, whatever you want to do. And that's a big number. And what I realized is that everybody's authentic life is different, which
Yeah.
means what they need to have that freedom will vary. For some people, they don't need a lot of money to have freedom because the life they live is very simple. Versus some people will require way more money because the life that they're supposed to lead requires more money. So at the end of the day, it's still the optionality to do what they want and not have to make choices because of money, but the
Hmm.
dollar amount that sits behind that will vary. And I think that's what I didn't understand before.
Very cool. Yeah. And we're gonna kind of change the topic just to like one
Hmm.
last more general question.
Hmm.
But before I do that, I want to give you a chance. I know you post a lot of different stuff. I'll give you a chance to kind of shout out. I know your LinkedIn's a really great place to see all of your news. But also you have a podcast. You might have mentioned the name before.
Yeah. So I mean, I do think LinkedIn is a good place because everything I create is going to get dumped onto LinkedIn anyways. I will
Mhm.
tell you that my LinkedIn algorithm, like the algorithm of LinkedIn hates me. It shows it to like 200 people. So not very many people see it. So if you want to
Yeah.
make sure you see it, the podcast is called Align Life Podcast with me. My name's on the title. It's on Spotify, Apple, all of that. You can also go to my website. It's just justincastelli.io. That'll link to everything as well. And then the Substack is called Aligned Life as well. So Aligned Life is a very important word for me. That's the name
Mm.
of the relationship at Santiago. So the work I do is called Aligned Life. The podcast is Aligned Life. Substack is Aligned Life. Trying to make it kind of common all the way through, so you don't have to remember too much to find my stuff.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, I can try to include as many of those links as I can. Your LinkedIn will definitely be in
Sure.
the description of all these videos.
Awesome.
Um, but yeah, kind of going into our last question, what is one thing you would love to kind of just tell college students interested in the financial field kind of before they get into it?
Yep. So I have two things. The first thing, I always tell Professor Schiestel's class when I come up and talk that where you start will probably not be where you end up. So I
Hmm.
mentioned quickly I had multiple stops along the way. One of the flaws with our profession is there's not a direct career path. And so there are different ways to be a different advisor, different business models, different fee structures, all these different things that, while yes, financial advisor is a term, there's not one way to be a financial advisor. So you won't know the best way for you to be an advisor, how you want to show up until you have some experience. So if you get into the profession, I think that the most important thing coming out of college is getting experience and getting your licensing and all the things you need to do to get business. Now, if you're lucky enough to find the ideal home the first time, great. But if not, don't worry about it. Get the experience, get the licensing, realize it's a means to an end, network with your peers, reach out to folks like myself. You'll be surprised how friendly a lot of advisors will be to the up and coming generations of
Hmm.
our profession because we want to make sure you succeed and just begin to network that way. So that's the first thing. Where you start probably won't be where you end up. And I'm willing to bet 99% of the advisors you have on this show will tell you the same thing if you listen to their story.
Yeah.
The second thing I think is thinking about long term of the profession, the technical skills that you're going to need, learning the financial planning software, making allocation recommendations, all the technical stuff is going to be important. But that is the part of our profession that I think is most at risk to technology, AI, and other things. So you need to know the technical skills, you need to have them, but I don't think you want to make that what you're known for, because I
Yeah.
think that is something that you can leverage technology to help you do that. Where I think it's important to spend a lot of time is developing a lot of the social skills, the emotional skills. So being a good listener,
Mhm.
asking good questions. And I do believe I'm biased, but my whole business going forward is based on this. I do think that the life planning approach, whether you do George Kinder's or you do Money Quotient or the other ones out there, but helping people figure out what they want out of their life, giving them the permission to dream big with no restrictions, and then back into can they become your reality. I think as an advisor, it's going to be more important to help people live lives that they actually want to live rather than just get through life. So technical skills are important, but I might be naive. I don't ever think a robot is going to be able to sit across from a client and give empathy and meet them where they're at and help them through some of the emotional things that come up when it comes to money. They might be able to like see that your body temperatures change and be able to, but there's something about human interaction and like the energy transmitted between us, even through Microsoft Teams, that I don't think a robot will go. So the more personal skills you can develop, the more personal you make the planning process, I think the better off you're going to be for the long term. And the beauty of it is you can use the technology to do the technical stuff. So that allows you to spend more time on the relationship stuff, which I think matters most, and leverage the AI to do all the technical stuff for you, and you just make sure it's accurate. So lean in on the personal and emotional stuff, and leverage technology to help you with the technical.
Yeah, those are two very great points, actually. I really like the idea of, focusing on the relationship and making sure you can build that up over time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Justin, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Once again, if you guys want to hear more from Justin, feel free to watch all of his other content. It's great stuff out there. And yeah, I'm sure we'll see you again soon.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. If you enjoyed this discussion, please like and share the podcast on Apple and Spotify. The WMA podcast is part of Michigan State University's Wealth Management Association, a student organization whose goal is to inspire the next generation of financial advisors. Feel free to follow us on social media at MSU WMA and check out our website at msuwma.com. Anything heard on either the MSU WMA or Spartan Journal podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice.